where nuclear war has begun. Vampires fought back in super real 3D.
Today's video is different than, I think, any video I've done. Because what I am requesting you to check out is actually one of my pieces of work. This piece, however, has some really interesting aspects that I think you will find interesting if you watch it. All right, first of all, it is one of my favorite things that I've ever made. And I made this a few years ago. If you really want to get an idea of the most personal, revealing video I think I've ever made, this is it. And it's kind of ironic because I don't even talk in it. I use other people's voices to voice some, to me, beautiful concepts about how to perceive reality, life, and creativity. And it's really dedicated to artists of any kind. And it was the most cathartic experience I've ever had editing anything. I got sucked into a tunnel for about a month, taking all this footage that I'd gathered up kind of over the course of a couple of years and didn't know what I was going to do with it. And then started chopping it and then discovered what I was going to do with it. And it turned into this thing. And it was like this, really one of the most pivotal pieces of work I've ever created in exploring my own art. I went really deep with myself. So hopefully you enjoy it. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. I think if you're an artist of any kind, I think you'll enjoy it. Now, another reason that it's really interesting, however, is that it was filmed in HD with a Sony FS700 and a Sony A7S. So all the footage in there was filmed in HD, except for like a few clips were in 4K, but I exported this thing a long time ago in HD because most of it was HD. And it was filmed to external recorders in ProRes, and you're like, all right, this is getting kind of boring already. But wait a second. Those cameras, if you have an external recorder that can capture it in ProRes, I was using the Odyssey 7Q Plus, but when you have a recorder like that, it turns them into powerhouses. So I'm asking, check out at least 5 minutes of this footage and see what I got out of these cameras that you can get for ridiculously cheap nowadays. And do you have an external recorder already? And if you don't, this is one of the things that's really interesting about getting an external recorder and going that route, is that you end up with this really large screen. You could get all these focus assist tools and features and exposure things, waveform monitors, false color. So you can just really dial in your picture. You can put LUTs on it, so that way the client's just wowed. It's, in my case, the Odyssey 7Q is an OLED screen, so that's pretty great for the client to be able to see their stuff on an OLED like that. They always think, wow, this is looking great. It kind of unlocks the doors on all these old, cheap cameras. So check out the quality of this, and keep in mind what you're watching was HD. Those cameras I normally film in 4K. After that, it was like they shortly after released 4K, and I had two 7Qs and was using it on the A7S as well. But in this case, most of this stuff was filmed in HD before that happened, and that's how old this footage is. But check out how it still holds up. Check out what it's like to convert an HD file video into 4K, so not even converting it, the original file, into 4K. Like, I'm just taking an old video clip like I showed in a recent video, never upload HD and 4K, always upload HD and 4K. I can't remember the exact title that I gave it, but this is true. Like, upconvert it and upload it to YouTube in 4K, and you'll see the quality difference happen. You can check out my video, I'll link that here, on why you'd want to do that and what happens. But nonetheless, this video right now, I hope you enjoy. I hope that you can appreciate the quality of these older cameras pulling through even when filming in HD. Just like, it's pretty amazing. I don't know. I can honestly watch this video personally, and it always kind of recalibrates me as a person and kind of just brings everything back into perspective for me. So hopefully it's helpful in some way to you guys, and keep shooting.
So I want to talk about education, and I want to talk about creativity. My contention is that creativity now is as important in education as literacy, and we should treat it with the same status. Picasso once said this. He said that all children are born artists. The problem is to remain an artist as we grow up. I believe this passionately, that we don't grow into creativity, we grow out of it. Or rather, we get educated out of it.
Humanity cannot forget its dreamers. It cannot let their ideals fade and die. It lives in them. It feels in them the realities which it shall one day see and know. Composer, sculptor, painter, poet, prophet, sage. These are the architects of paradise. The world is beautiful because they have lived. Without them, laboring humanity would perish. Columbus cherished a vision of another world, and he discovered it. Copernicus fostered the vision of a multiplicity of worlds in a wider universe, and he revealed it. Buddha beheld the vision of a spiritual world of stainless beauty and perfect peace, and he entered into it. Cherish your visions. Cherish your ideals. Cherish the music that stirs in your heart, the beauty that forms in your mind. The greatest achievement was at first and for a time a dream. Dreams are the seedlings of realities.
You know, in every national park, there's a place called Inspiration Point. The artist pays a tribute to it by painting a landscape. And people go there and they say, oh, it's just like a picture. And nobody knew this 400 years ago. It took the artists to paint landscape, and then people realized how beautiful it is. And it always takes the artist to show us the vision.
Every education system on Earth has the same hierarchy of subjects. Everyone, doesn't matter where you go, you'd think it would be otherwise, but it isn't. At the top are mathematics and languages, then the humanities, and at the bottom are the arts, everywhere on Earth. And in pretty much every system too, there's a hierarchy within the arts. Art and music are normally given a higher status in schools than drama and dance. There isn't an education system on the planet that teaches dance every day to children the way we teach them mathematics. Why? Why not? I think this is rather important. I think maths is very important, but so is dance. Children dance all the time if they're allowed to. We all do.
It's like the waves washing against the shore, going on and on and on forever with no meaning. All music is purposeless. Is music getting somewhere? If it were, I mean, if the aim of music were, of a symphony, were to get to the final bar, the best conductor would be the one who got there fastest. See, dancing, when you dance, do you aim to arrive at a particular place on the floor? Is that the idea of dancing? No. The aim of dancing is to dance.
Our education system is predicated on the idea of academic ability. And there's a reason. The whole system was invented around the world. There were no public systems of education really before the 19th century. They all came into being to meet the needs of industrialism. So the hierarchy is rooted on two ideas. Number one, that the most useful subjects for work are at the top. So you were probably steered benignly away from things at school when you were a kid, things you liked, on the grounds you would never get a job doing that. And the consequence is that many highly talented, brilliant, creative people think they're not, because the thing they were good at school wasn't valued or was actually stigmatized. And I think we can't afford to go on that way.
Nothing is more busy than a school. They make you work, because you get cut through on schedule. They have expedited courses. You go to school so as to get a union card, a PhD or something, so that you can earn a living. So that's a whole contradiction of scholarship. Scholarship is to study everything that's unimportant, not necessary for survival. All the charming irrelevances of life. But you see, the thing is this: if you don't have a room in your life for the playful, life's not worth living. To be a true scholar, you have to cultivate an attitude to life where you're not trying to get anything out of it. You pick up a pebble on the beach, look at it, beautiful. Don't try and get a sermon out of it. Just enjoy it. Don't feel that you've got to salve your conscience by saying that this is for the advancement of your aesthetic understanding. Enjoy the pebble. If you do that, you become healthy. You become able to be a loving, helpful human being. But if you can't do that, if you can only do things because they are somehow you're going to get something out of it, you're a vulture.
So I dedicated my career to research into the severe mental illnesses. But on the morning of December 10, 1996, I woke up to discover that I had a brain disorder of my own. On the morning of the hemorrhage, I could not walk, talk, read, write, or recall any of my life. Each of our hemisphere think about different things, they care about different things, and dare I say, they have very different personalities. Our left hemisphere is all about the past, and it's all about the future. Our left hemisphere is designed to take that enormous collage of the present moment and start picking out details, and more details about those details. It then categorizes and organizes all that information, associates it with everything in the past we've ever learned, and projects into the future all of our possibilities. But perhaps most important, it's that little voice that says to me, I am. I am. And as soon as my left hemisphere says to me, I am, I become a single, solid individual, separate from the energy flow around me and separate from you. And this is the portion of my brain that I lost on the morning of my stroke. Imagine what it would be like to be totally disconnected from your brain chatter that connects you to the external world. So here I am in this space, and my job and any stress related to my job, it was gone. And I felt lighter in my body. And imagine all of the relationships in the external world and any stressors related to any of those, they were gone. And I felt this sense of peacefulness.
When you look at the clouds, they aren't symmetrical. They don't form fours. They don't come along in cubes. But you know at once that they're not a mess. When you look at the patterns of foam on water, they never make an artistic mistake. And they're not mess. They are wiggly. We don't realize how wiggly we are. We're just like clouds, rocks, and stars. Look at the way the stars are arranged. Do you criticize the way the stars are arranged? Would you like them to form fours? We love the way the stars are scattered. And they never make a mistake in their arrangement. What about mountain ranges? Do you criticize the valleys for being low? Praise the peaks for being high?
My mind was now suspended between two very opposite planes of reality. Stimulation coming in through my sensory systems felt like pure pain. Light burned my brain like wildfire, and sounds were so loud and chaotic that I could not pick a voice out from the background noise, and I just wanted to escape. Because I could not identify the position of my body in space, I felt enormous and expansive, like a genie just liberated from her bottle. And my spirit soared free like a great whale gliding through a sea of silent euphoria. Nirvana. I found nirvana.
The real you is not a puppet which life pushes around. The real deep down you is the whole universe. Because you see, underneath the superficial self, which pays attention to this and that, there is another self, more really us than I. And if you become aware of that unknown self, the more you realize that it is inseparably connected with everything else that there is. You are a function of this total galaxy, bounded by the Milky Way, and that furthermore, this galaxy is a function of all other galaxies. And that vast thing that you see far off, far off, far off with telescopes, and you look and look and look. One day you're going to wake up and say, why, that's me.
And I remember thinking there's no way I would ever be able to squeeze the enormousness of myself back inside this tiny little body. But then I realized, but I'm still alive. I'm still alive, and I have found nirvana. And if I have found nirvana and I'm still alive, then everyone who is alive can find nirvana. And that they could purposely choose to step to the right of their left hemispheres and find this peace. And then I realized what a tremendous gift this experience could be. What a stroke of insight this could be to how we live our lives. And it motivated me to recover. And we have the power to choose moment by moment who and how we want to be in the world. Right here, right now, I can step into the consciousness of my right hemisphere where I am the life force power of the universe. I am the life force power of the 50 trillion beautiful molecular geniuses that make up my form, at one with all that is. Or I can choose to step into the consciousness of my left hemisphere, where I become a single individual, a solid, separate from the flow, separate from you. I am Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor, intellectual, neuroanatomist. These are the we inside of me. Which would you choose? Which do you choose?
As wandering on and on in a great forest with no thought of return. Haven't you done this? Haven't you gone on a walk with no particular purpose in mind? Carry a stick with you and you occasionally hit at old stumps and wander along and sometimes twiddle your thumbs. It's at that moment that you are a perfectly rational human being. You've learned purposelessness.